quote from Bobby Jones dealing specifically with the 13th hole, which has been lengthened over time. And he said that the decision to go for the green in 2 should be a momentous one. And I would have to say that our observations of these great players hitting middle and even short irons into that hole is not a decision. And so we think there is an issue not only there but in the game generally that needs to be addressed. The ultimate decision is going to be, I'm confident, a collective one. It's going to be one where all of the stakeholders sit down and come to some agreement. And from our perspective, we will always do what's necessary to maintain the integrity of our golf course. But as I said in my comments, I don't think that's the only approach to this. And so my hope is that every organization, every stakeholder involved will look at this issue from a holistic basis, and not only in what might be in the best interest of their own organization. We fully appreciate and do not want any action to be taken that's going to make golf harder. We have an obligation to grow the game, and so we're sensitive to that. So these issues don't always coincide, and like any difficult question, it requires compromise and debate. And so as long as we're all talking to one another and looking out for what's in the best interest of the game, I'm confident that there's going to be a solution that's going to work for everyone.
You now have the land to move that tee at 13 back should they want to. It also, David, sounds like they have the desire. That quote from Jones is really powerful. That second shot should be a momentous decision to go for the green. Guys with middle and short irons, it's not a momentous decision. You faced that shot in 2000. You know what it's like. What do you think?
I faced it many other times than just 2000. It can be a difficult golf shot without question. I think we were talking about just a couple days ago, the challenge has become the tee shot now. Do you take that on and try to get it around the corner into the very wide area of that fairway and give yourself that short iron? If you don't, you typically will go lay it up short and probably play it as a 3-shot hole. Or if you do try and don't pull it off, you hit it straight through up into the pine trees. I don't know exactly what the solution is on 13. I certainly wouldn't want to see it backed up 30, 40, 50 yards.
20 yards, you okay with that?
I'm thinking it's like a club and a half backing it up.
Which would be?
But I don't, what I heard the chairman saying was more about the game in general than I heard the 13th hole, but also heard more about the game in general, that they seem to be concerned about the golf ball itself as much as anything. That's how I kind of took what the comments I heard, and I think that in conferring with all the other governing bodies, they want to help protect what they believe to be the possibility of a compromise of the integrity of the game and of course, of their golf course here. And I understand that.
Well, and I think a lot of things, too, have got to be fair, have changed. Bernard Langer was the last player to win here with a wooden driver. I was referencing it the other night. It's 25 years ago. So most people used to have 43-inch or 43.5-inch driver. So now with graphite, lighter shaft, titanium heads, things like that, you can actually lengthen the club. So they're playing with longer equipment for a start. It's across the board, and I think that's why Fred Ridley got the job as chairman. Fred Ridley was the last amateur, won the amateur in 1975, did not turn pro. The last one did not turn professional. Also, when he served at the USGA, he's aware of how this has to be broken. And he's a smart man as well. So to David's point, it's not just one thing, hey, let's just tweak this. We didn't get here by accident. And the other thing, you have to point the finger at architecture. And we only notice it because we keep coming back here. So you see the changes, but if they keep building golf courses bigger and bigger and force carries, then really you're encouraging manufacturers and ball developers to make people, I call it the modern high jump. You send the bar higher, well, they've got to jump higher. Why wouldn't they change equipment?
But we all do have an investment in this golf course, even if we're not lucky enough to be members of this place. The architectural integrity, specifically the 13th hole, it is important to everybody. It's important to the outcome of this event. The hole debuted at 480 yards. It's 510 yards. Tour pros are at least 50 yards longer than they were in 1934. That's off the tee. So then you have to allow for that on the second shot. So let's just say you add 60 yards to it. So you get it to 540 yards. That's still not going to do what they would ideally like. I mean, if when it debuted, you drove it to that corner and you had a 4-wood or a 1-iron or a 2-iron. Well, to get a 4-wood or a 1-iron or a 2-iron in a player's hands now, they'd have to be 280 yards out coming into that green. And that green is not obviously designed for that shot. It's designed for that shot on the corner, the ball above your feet. 220 yards is a 5-iron still. So, you know, I would like to see the integrity of that slope brought back to order a little bit, because the line was drawn in the sand almost 2 decades ago with the equipment.
And he said that the decision to go for the green in 2 should be a momentous one. And I would have to say that our observations of these great players hitting middle and even short irons into that hole is not a decision. And so we think there is an issue not only there but in the game generally that needs to be addressed. These issues don't always coincide, and like any difficult question, it requires compromise and debate. And so as long as we're all talking to one another